So you can really tell the difference as soon as you cross that line when you enter our restaurant. The energy, the vibe, the food, the menu, the service, it's all there.
So we understand when people go to restaurants or movies or run for politics, it's not just one thing that causes somebody, one, to go in, and two, for people to vote for them.
Yeah.
It's a combination. You could be a great orator, all right, and just a miserable person, all right? And people are going to look at this package of stuff and make decisions why they're going to vote for somebody. So you've been, again, active in government and civic affairs. So tell us about some of the categories that you've been active in.
So yeah, in South Beach, I'm known as a tourism and hospitality veteran because of my 20-year history with the restaurant and tourism and hospitality businesses. And then I moved to North Beach in 2016. I bought my first townhome there on a little island called Parkview Island. And I got to know my neighborhood a little bit. And in 2019, I started advocating for inclusion of Parkview Island in the North Beach CRA boundary when the CRA was being established at first. We were being excluded, and CRAs are supposed to help those neighborhoods most in need.
So for the people that don't understand, tell us the function of a CRA and how it gets funded.
Yeah, so a community redevelopment agency usually has a boundary within a location in a municipality, and its purpose is to reinvigorate that area with new business, new opportunities, and economic development.
So the money comes from the taxes that those
Yes.
people have stay in that community versus being distributed throughout the city.
Correct. So all of whatever is inside the boundary of the CRA, all of those property taxes, instead of going to the county, they stay at the city level so that we can use them to bring more opportunities into the area.
And the CRA has a lifespan. It can be 5 years or 10 years. At the end of that, and it reverts back to the way that it was.
Right. Our CRA in North Beach is 30 years.
Wow. And congratulations.
Yeah.
Who arranged that?
Mickey Steinberg and a couple of other people. Yeah.
That's wonderful to be able to do that. And for people that have not, and it's also, you can also do, I think you'll also do that in the county, or is it only in the cities?
So I know there's a couple of different CRAs within the county in different municipalities.
And it is a method in which a homeowner and a group of homeowners could get together and start a campaign, right? They say, listen, we need to get this infrastructure done, but the city can't do it as fast because they take the money and it gets diluted or shared with everybody. So my hat's off to you and your team to be able to do that.
Yeah. So.
All right. So tell us more.
Yeah, no. So I started with my community, as you said. We got a number of residents together, and I noticed that we were underrepresented at City Hall, and we really needed some help, especially on Parkview Island, because we were being excluded from the CRA. So that's when I created Miami Beach's first sustainable neighborhood association in the history of our city. And the mission of our sustainable association was to improve quality of life through an environmental and sustainable focus. So to date, we've been working on a lot of the infrastructural issues, environmental issues that face our city, such as the polluted waterways and the bacteria in our beaches and our canals.
So, Omar, most people, when we think of Miami Beach, we think of the business district.
Yes.
Which is from Zero Street to what? How far is that up to the Fontainebleau or 20th Street or 30th?
Traditionally, so here's something that a lot of people don't realize, that Mid-Beach, which ends on 63rd Street, essentially, Mid-Beach actually brings in a third of Miami Beach's resort taxes revenue through all of the waterfront resorts that are there. So essentially, yes, South Beach and Mid-Beach were always the main focus of our city. But now over the last number of years, as I said, since the North Beach CRA was established, North Beach is going to be getting a lot of focus, and there's a lot of development and a lot of investment that's going to be going into North Beach over the next couple of years.
And for the folks that don't go to the Miami Beach very much, remember a couple of years ago, there's a lot of violence over there. It was really terrible. And then and it was bad PR across the world. And then last year, maybe it was the year before, the city says, we don't want to invite these people back. So the city spent about $250,000 putting the notice out, which is don't do that. All right. We don't want you if you're going to do that. So now the city is saying, or people are saying, what do we need to do to get business back?
Yeah.
So tell us How do you think that's going to work when the last message for the 20-year-olds, and maybe now they're 25 or 30 or don't care anymore, right? How are you going to get them back, and what is that campaign going to look like?
Yeah, that's a big issue for us because we've been alienating not only a lot of the residents and visitors from Miami-Dade County, from our own municipal area, but we've been alienating a lot of our own residents and people that have actually left Miami Beach because we've become so expensive, so unfriendly over the last number of years. And it's hurting our economy. So far this year, we're 100 million down in revenue in our city, and we're over 4 million down in resort taxes. So we're starting to feel the pinch. We really need to create, expand our economy to an area that will not just be about tourism and hospitality and property taxes, because those are the only two industries essentially that we have in Miami Beach. My vision for Miami Beach is to bring in more creative economies that can help us create a more sustainable year-round economy so that we don't have these lows and highs throughout the year, and so that we can create more opportunities, not only for the wealthy, but also for everyday folks like myself, my family, immigrants, Hispanic community, seniors, young professionals and young families that, you know, we've been alienating because we don't have that much affordable housing in our city. We have actually an affordable housing crisis.
I think the Miami Beach Chamber has a motto, if I got it right, beyond the beach.
Yes.
Which is the same thing. What do we have to do so that we can act more like a community that's together rather than separated? And you shared with me earlier that you came to Miami and then you moved somewhere for a while.
So here's I was born in Cuba. I'm a Cuban-born American citizen, but I came here after living in Ireland. My family left Cuba and we went to Ireland.
Directly from Cuba.
From Cuba.
To Ireland.
Yes.
Emily, who's our producer over there. Emily, did you hear that? First time ever I've heard that.
Yeah, my mom is actually Ukrainian and my dad's Cuban.
Really?
So I was born in Cuba, and then we were going to the Ukraine during the special period in the 90s when things were really bad in Cuba. We were on our way to the Ukraine, and the plane stopped over in Shannon on the west of Ireland. And my dad looked out the window and he said, "Oh, it looks really nice and green outside, and it's already fall. It's freezing in the Ukraine, so I think we're going to stay here."
And how long were you there?
I lived there for 20 years. My parents came over a little bit earlier than me. They moved over here full-time in 2005.
By the way, my grandfather is from Ukraine.
Nice.
And when the Ukraine war broke out, I had this connection that I didn't realize that I had. It was just, I was watching this. I'm going, I know there's some relative of mine that I don't know that's there. And it was really, and when you have that connection, really makes a big difference. So let's get back to, if you are elected to the Miami Beach City Commission, that was going to be in November, which is 6 weeks or so from now. Yep. Early voting starts in like 3.5 weeks.
Just around the corner.
That's early, or those are absentee ballots.
Absentee ballots are going to be released around October 6th or October 10th.
That's less than a month from now.
Yeah.
And then there's there's early voting after that.
Early voting starts soon after, yeah. Yeah.
And then the last day of voting is what? November what?
November 4th.
November 4th. Yeah. That's the last day of voting. Do not wait till November 4th to vote for the candidate of your choice, because God only knows it could be pouring rain, or maybe it's going to snow. Yeah. I don't think so. Or stuff happens.
Well, and actually this year we're going to a runoff also, probably most likely, because there's 7 candidates in my group.
7 candidates running in the
7 candidates. It's kind of unprecedented.
Well, 20 years ago, somebody said, listen, there's this guy, a junior senator out of Chicago that's running. I said, oh, nobody's going to vote for that guy, right? You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. So we urge everybody to study up, figure out who the candidate is. They can reach you. They can find you all over the internet, all right?
Definitely.
All right? And they can call you. They can email you.
Social media.
And all over social media. So in the old days, you'd have to hunt for something. You don't have to look very far. So going back to, so if you're elected, what is some of the first things you want to do based upon what people have told you what they're looking for at Miami Beach? Yeah,
so my 4 main priorities on my platform are sewer and infrastructure, so sewer and stormwater upgrades. We've been suffering a lot over the last number of years with bacteria hotspots all over our city, especially on our beaches. And as you can imagine, Miami Beach is tourism and hospitality. Miami Beach is all about clean and pristine waterways. That's our bread and butter. That's our economy. So if we don't have safe recreational waterways and beaches, then we might as well be Miami Shores. So that's going to be one of my main, platform priorities. And then obviously responsible development, because I feel we've lost our way over the last number of years. We just seem to be able to do one thing recently, and that's build luxury glass luxury towers, And so I think that we need to create more space for affordable living in Miami Beach, so that all of our friends and family don't have to live in Homestead, because about 60% of my friends have moved out of Miami Beach over the last number of years because they just simply can't afford to live there. If you ask most of our municipal employees in Miami Beach, they all live outside of Miami Beach because they can't afford to live there. And so I think that if we're going to create and expand our economy, at the same time, we need to build affordable housing and affordable living, so that we can attract those young professionals, those young families that are going to be working for these new companies and headquarters that are going to be establishing in our city.
And I'm glad you brought up about septic problems. And we know throughout the county there's 100,000 septic tanks plus. There's supposedly 9,000 that are, there's a challenge, and some more that are critical, mostly on the mainland, and not on the beach. But let's talk about when those streets on Miami Beach flood.
Yeah.
And it also happens downtown. It's not the only place, right? And we've just, unfortunately, if you don't live in it, it's just like, well, it floods. And I think a lot of folks have just gotten desensitized to it. But if you live on Miami Beach and your streets are flooding and it happens frequently, people sort of get annoyed. But what can the city of Miami Beach do to deal with that?
So that's all part of my top priority, to upgrade our stormwater and sewer infrastructure, because we're not just building thousands of new units that are going to go online over the next couple of years, and they're going to put even more stress on our old, antiquated stormwater system that's already failing. And as you can see, in some parts of our city, we do have some flooding with the smallest rain showers. And also we have what we call sunny day floods when high tides, like such as the king tides that we're experiencing right now, occur. So we want to make sure that we can upgrade our systems so that our streets don't flood, so that we can live in a place that's more harmonious and attracts those types of businesses and companies that we want.
That all takes money.
It all takes money. We need over $100 million just to upgrade our sewer and stormwater in North Beach alone.
So you look at the businesses, the homeowners, and the new developments.
Yeah.
Have to pay for this stuff.
Exactly, and that's a big part of my platform. I actually announced my candidacy for city commission at the special city commission on June 27th, and I stood side by side with the biggest developers in our city, and I told them, hey, these projects that we're about to approve are not good enough. These deals that we're making are not good enough, because at the end of the day, the city residents and the taxpayer are the ones left holding the bag. We need these developers to provide better community benefits, such as, providing the funding for the $100 million that we need for our sewer and stormwater upgrades. Instead of us having to bond all the time, now we're looking at doing a $100 million bond, sewer and stormwater bond, that's going to raise the residents' utility billing for sewer and water, because we have our own sewer and water bills, and it's also going to raise our taxes in the future. So we're already at a point where, we can't keep raising these fees, and the residents are feeling the pinch. Yes. So we definitely need to get these from new developments.
Lots of times when people move into a city, they move in their location, parks and police.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the police force.
Yes.
All right. And police have a difficult time. As compared to the firemen, everybody loves a fire person, man, woman, all right? You like the police when they're there to protect you, and when you get a ticket, you don't.
Yeah.
So there's particular lot of stress on both those first responders, even though there's lots of other ones. What can the city do to keep and attract good policemen to the city of Miami Beach?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because we have a lot of competition from nearby municipalities that offer great packages and great salaries for police officers. I think we've been doing a really good job over the last number of years at expanding our police force, and our city is quite safe. You know, Miami Beach is a very transient city, so we're always going to have people coming and going, all different types of people coming into our city at all different times. So I believe we have a really well trained police force, and I've always been an advocate for our police force. I've worked with the Fraternal Order of Police through our restaurant for many years. I've attended many roll calls. With the police at 6 o'clock in the morning, brought them pastelitos and coffee. We've done many things together. Over the last couple of years, as you said, you know, crime got a little bit out of control after COVID. And I think that the administration that we have in place right now did a really good job of bringing things back into order. But there's always more that we can do. And we also got to make sure that we're not overstepping or crossing that line when it becomes unbearable also, because I myself was kind of victimized at one point last year when one of our overly aggressive police officers found me in a park at 8:30 p.m. and it was just after sunset, and he wanted to criminalize me for being in a park 30 minutes after close. So we want to make sure that there's community policing where the residents and the visitors are respected, and we also want to make sure that we have a great police force that's keeping us safe.
As you know, autism and other similar disorders is pretty significant, and our awareness about that. Is there something that the city is doing so that the police are acutely aware if there's an autistic person in the home, so when they go out, they don't think that this child who's maybe, you know, a little disorderly at that point doesn't get misused? So is there something that the city's doing or could do to inform the police officers and the firemen about what's going on in those homes?
Yes. So we don't just focus on people with disabilities. We have a lot of seniors in our city also, and we have a lot of, we have a homeless population. And so we have different organizations within the community that are out there reaching these people through community outreach and different events, and you know, liaising with different departments of the city, our local organizations, such as one of our homeless organizations that we have in the city. We did a homeless outreach event a couple of weeks ago, and we touch base with these people all the time, so we know where they are, what they're doing, what they're up to. We're not keeping an eye on or a tab on them, but we're making sure that everything is running smooth. So
lots of people don't know there are nonprofits that are out there that actually deliver food to people when they know where they are. They know they're going to be this corner, this corner. People are acutely unaware of that. So there's a lot of social services that people can get. If somebody has a question, they can call over City Hall. Is there a particular department they should speak to? Hey, I need some help.
Yeah, definitely. There's homeless outreach department. There's
at City Hall.
Yeah, there's all, you know, housing services. We have all types of. We have over 1,000 municipal employees in Miami Beach. So if you can think of anything that you need, you just call City Hall and you'll be connected with one of the departments or the people that will take care of your needs. But, you know, at the same time, I feel like there's a lot more that we can do.
And I'm sure there is. Let's talk about what we call mobility. You can call it traffic, you can call it parking, you can call it whatever you want. But getting around town, in this case, it's in Miami Beach. What information can you give to people about how to get around town?
So that's one of my top priorities on my platform. I believe that we could do a lot better. Right now, we have a couple of different services, such as the Miami Beach Trolley, the freebie service, and I don't think that they are offering as good a service as we could have. The trolleys are old. The customer service is really not that great. Sometimes they're not on time. A lot of our seniors complain that they're hard to use for them because they don't come down or go up, you know. So we're looking at a new fleet of these trolleys, but we also got to keep in mind that there's different things out there. Like, for example, the freebie service. We get a lot of complaints from people saying that the freebies take an hour and 20 minutes to pick them up. And that's not a reliable service if, you know, you want to get to the store and come back real quick. So I've been looking at exterior sources. For example, there's a company in Boca, and they do autonomous door-to-door service.
Really?
Yeah, on routes that they have created throughout the city. So I think that that's one of the big problems that Miami Beach has.
I mean, when we open the door, there's not going to be anybody in it.
We're like in a little bubble here in Miami Beach. You know, a lot of the times Miami Beach like closes itself off to everything that's happening in the exterior world and doesn't see what's happening in cities like Dubai or cities as close as Tampa and Fort Lauderdale, where they have a great water taxi service, or Boca, where they have these autonomous vehicles. We need to look outside of our bubble to bring these things into our community and our city so we can become more innovative, more competitive again, because I think that we've lost our edge over the last 5 to 10 years. And Miami Beach is a very different place now to what it was when I first started living.
We know there's a swing, you know, when and you look at an area that goes bad, you know, what happens about 5 years later, it's good. It's
Yes.
not, and that's what I sense that's what's either about to happen or is happening now in Miami Beach, where there's been this, you know, let's take a look at this, the struggles, the fights, they seem to be, you know, at least sort of calming down. I'm talking about internally, you know, within the business community and the residential community. So you've been actively involved and engaged with governments and with civic organizations. What is it you could do as commissioner that would incentivize people to want to become involved with city government?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things, obviously, that I aspire to that are part of the platform that I've been building over the last number of years. I think that for me, the top things is I have economic development experience. I was a member of the Community Redevelopment Agency Advisory Committee. So I know what it takes to bring this business to our city to become more competitive again. As a small business owner in our city for 20 years, I want to bring small business back. That's one thing that's really, really important to me. And also I want to help fix our affordable housing crisis, because there's no reason as to why we can't build mixed-use developments with affordable housing, Class A office spaces, so that we can expand our economy, not only into tourism and hospitality and property taxes, but we could be the creative capital of Miami, just like Brickell became the finance capital. We need to create our own little niche market and attract these HQs from all over the world that are looking for a class destination that it provides a lot of great quality of life, amenities, and services like Miami Beach does.
So often when we hear the term affordable, people sort of scoff at that. That's a legal definition.
Yes.
Right? That's all it is. There's nothing down here that's, quote, affordable.
Right, exactly.
It's just when developers say you can have a market rate, then you can have workforce housing, and you can have affordable. Yeah. It is, you know, you got to have the early bird dinner, you can have the late bird dinner, you can have, and so within a building, there's a balance that goes on in there. You can have somebody paying X dollars a month, and so maybe somebody's paying 20% less, maybe 40% less than that. And there's always a balance there. And it is in South Florida, and particularly Miami-Dade County, we do have this, quote, affordable housing crisis. Yeah. Certainly great minds have tried to figure it out. Yeah. And what we need to do is, on those big developers, you got to put their feet to the fire and say, you need to give us a break so that we can get more people that are they can live here and they can work.
Exactly. I think that Lincoln Road is a great example of how we could do that, because Lincoln Road is a shell of what it used to be when my family and I first started living here in 2005. And I remember when we used to walk down Lincoln Road in the early 2000s, we would bump into celebrities and movie stars, and all of the restaurants were packed every single day, every single night. And unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. Lincoln Road is now a shell of what it used to be, and some of the new developers in our city are thinking of ways as to how we can bring Lincoln Road back. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be something that we can do overnight, but there is definitely different ways that we can incorporate housing on top of the retail spaces that are there.
Well, what a wonderful opportunity. You have not quite a clean slate, but pretty much. And people do want a thriving area. Nobody wants to live across the street from places that are boarded up, because nothing good is going to come from that. So we wish you a lot of good luck with that. We're going to ask you to look right in this camera right over here, and you got 1.5 minutes to tell people why they should vote for you.
So I've been working a long time in the community. My service to the community has been a labor of love since 2005. We've operated one of Miami Beach's oldest mom and pop Cuban restaurants. In South Beach, I'm a tourism and hospitality veteran, and in North Beach, I'm an environment and sustainability activist and community leader. I founded Miami Beach's first sustainable neighborhood association in the history of our city. And to date, I'm the only candidate in Group 1 that has already brought over $10 million in direct community benefits to our city and our community through improvements and projects that I've proposed and have been sponsored by current city commissioners. I look forward to working with my community in the near future to be able to really bring these upgrades that are necessary for our city. And if you vote for me, I can tell you I'm not going to be working for special interests, developers, or PAC money, because I'm using my own money for this campaign. And my only special interest are the residents, is our community and our real needs that have been neglected for so many years. So when you vote for me, Omar Jimenez, you're getting a true community grassroots candidate that we've been looking for so many years.
Wonderful. Well, that's very good. Let's go over again. Let's go over one more time. People are going to get their absentee ballots, going to come in the mail within a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Then there's going to be early voting, right? And then there's going to be the last day of voting. Do not wait until the end, all right?
Do not wait until the end. Please register to vote now. If you haven't registered, you still have plenty of time. If you're not going to be around, or if you think you may not be around, please request your mail-in ballots and vote early. We need as many votes as we can get this year. It's an off election year, so we need as many votes as we can get.
So often people, when they are along a journey, as you've been on, they have people that have helped them along their way.
Yes.
What you think about a couple of them?
Yeah, so that's something that's very near and dear to my heart, because my family are, your typical immigrant family. My parents are college, university graduates, but when we left Cuba, my parents had to start from zero. Working in kitchens, washing dishes, and cleaning houses. And they had help from people that you mentioned like that over the years that got them a little bit further and a little bit further down the line. And that's really why I do what I do, because that's something that I have in my DNA and something that will always stay with me. So when I do this work, it's because I want to return those favors to the people that have helped us and the people in my community that really need that help.
We wish you lots of good luck. All right.
Thank you.
We might see you on November 5th, the day after.
Yes, right. We're getting into the runoff, and we're going to win this election. Okay. So December 9th is actually the runoff election day.
All right. Yeah. So there's going to be down to 2 people.
Yes.
And so November 4th, last day, and then 2 people, lucky people, a month later, there's going to be another election.
Yep. And, I'm one of the only NPA candidates in the race. There's 4 Democrats running for this seat, and I think there's 1 or 2 Republicans, and then I'm NPA. I think it's a great year to be an NPA. We both know all the reasons as to why it's a great year to be an NPA. So please, if you're looking for a candidate that's not partial, that's not biased, I'm right in the middle. I've always been center. And my only, focus is the community's focus and the residents' focus.
Wonderful. Emily, can you put the camera on yourself? Let's see if we can do that. Emily, who produces shows, recent graduate from FIU. Oh, there she is there. Lower it down. Say hi, Emily. Thank you very much for doing the show. She has a show herself called Everything with Emily, and we look for it. I think we're going to see another show this week. And let's look at the main camera, folks. You can always look into Disney. You're all familiar with Disney, but they have a rule. It's called the Disney rule. The Disney rule is when you hug somebody, don't stop until they do. Have a great day, and thanks for joining us.